So let's get into our trades for this week. So I thought this might be a fun thing to do a little bit more often than we ordinarily would. I think there are a lot of folks out there, viewers, listeners, Discord server members, Twitter followers who are interested in specifically what Todd is buying and selling these days. And so, Todd, I know we both made a few trades this week. I bought two stocks and sold one. I don't know about you, but I wanna start with the one that I know we both bought, which is Duluth. So we talked about Duluth in our smattering last week, from July 2nd, as an interesting, potentially seasonal play, but a very high scoring stock. I believe it still has a 95 or 100 in our research, one or the other. So I bought on, I believe it was Tuesday, which would have been the 6th. Yeah, the
So you're in
6th.
probably somewhere around 19.
Yeah, I can actually tell you
And you
what
know, Joe,
my entry
this
point is.
you mentioned it. We both bought it. You bought it on Tuesday. I actually bought it today.
Very nice.
And on the show, I think I had said, and I'm probably going to buy this, and I'm going to buy it in the high 18s. And I think my price, it's 18.94 right now. I think I paid like 18.90.
I paid 1863.
No, yeah,
Got
you
you
got me
beat.
beat, Joe. You got me beat. Nice job.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, this is again 21% year-over-year revenue growth in the quarter ending April. Expected to grow earnings 67% in fiscal 22 and another 43% in fiscal 23. Great chart setup with lots of buy day volume. Not a lot of volume recently on some of the sell days. And you know, I think, Joe, people have money in their pockets, right? And they want to spend it.
yep,
And you know, the people are going to spend it on things like, you know, buck naked underwear.
that's right. From those fantastic ads that seem to be everywhere. Yes, the buck naked underwear. I might have to get myself a pair of those. Never tried them before. So that's the first one. Next, I also bought CrowdStrike, which we talked about. I don't think it was last week. I think it was the week before. Yeah, June 25th. I have it here in my notes. So also another high scoring, much stronger seasonality on this one, I think, just because it's a tech play. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago again. A cybersecurity company, one of the major players in that industry. And again, this week or I guess it was late last week, we heard about another massive cyber attack. So they're not going anywhere. Those Russians are hard at work on their keyboards and their bunkers in Siberia or wherever the heck they are. But yeah, it's something that is really keeping businesses on their toes right now.
Yeah, and I'm long this. I think I bought it back last month. I'm long this as well, Joe. It's a relatively recent buy for me. And you know, during when we recorded the show a couple of weeks ago for the Smatter, and we talked about it, I think one of the things I had asked you is, what do you think is the pace going to accelerate or decelerate, and are they going to get more and more complex, these threats? And you know, I think the answer to both of those you said was yes. There's going to be more of them, and they're going to be increasingly hard to spot and derail. And I just really like the fact that with CrowdStrike, they're aggregating all of the experience that they're generating across their entire customer base to find and spot these. So you're leveraging your entire user base to find and react to these things relatively quickly. And again, really nice chart setup. Not a lot of volume on the sell days, very good volume on the buy days, breaking out to recent highs, 70% top line growth in the quarter ending April to 302 million. Looking at in fiscal 22, 44% EPS growth, and in fiscal 23, 79% growth. And I love that when you see that accelerating expectation for earnings, it tells you that there are fixed costs that are going to be leveraged by the company. And whenever you can do that, listeners, whenever you can take a look back the last few quarters, then look forward a couple of years and see whether or not that pace of acceleration or deceleration, look for the acceleration in earnings and revenue growth.
Yeah. So there are two reasons why I like this stock. So obviously it's high scoring in our research, but also the people that Todd and I follow on FinTwit have been talking about this stock for ever since we started recording the podcast, and probably well before then. So the way I kind of use FinTwit is just as kind of like an idea generation sort of machine, in the same way that our paid service works. And it turns me onto some stocks that I wouldn't ordinarily look at, that might not be like top scoring in our research, but are still have very bullish trajectories. So that really kind of affirms my buy decision when I see that other people on FinTwit, whether it's Todd or whether it's Jonah Lupton or Jessica Blamsky, people that we've had on the show in the past, who are also buying this, who frankly have done a lot more research than I have and are a lot smarter than I am. When people smarter than me are buying a stock, I like to see that, and it'll definitely draw my attention to it.
Yeah, great ideas come from a lot of different places, people. I mean, pay attention, they're all around us, right? We see them in our lives, in our work lives, in our personal lives. We see them in the social interactions, like on Twitter or whatever, and FinTwit. And then, of course, services, great services out there like Seven Investing. Obviously, we have a service as well. There's some great services out there. So, yeah, CrowdStrike. I think I agree with you. I think that there's a lot of opportunity there. Did you say there was one more buy, or were those the only two that you did?
Those were the only two. So I'm in on CrowdStrike at 263.28. So I'm losing money, but not for long.
Yeah, and you got 2 down days here. You broke out to that new high. Usually when you move out into a pivot point, you can expect to have some people who've been riding it for a long time book some profits. That knocks it down a little bit. And then hopefully what you would, ideal scenario from here would be you get the couple days down and then you start to reaccelerate again and really start to move up. I also bought 2 other stocks that we haven't mentioned this week. One I already owned and I added to on a big down day. That was Digital Turbine.
Yep.
APPS is the symbol there.
That was in our smattering last week, July 2nd.
Yeah, we talked about it on that big down day. It was down like 9%. I think at one point it got down 13 or 14%. I didn't buy it that day. I did buy it this week, I think. I'd have to go back and take a look at the exact date. And I don't know it off the top of my head, but I did increase my exposure to that because it's sitting right about on its 200-day moving average. I'll go ahead and pull up a chart on that one as well. So you can see, yeah, you can see how we got that big gap down day here on the 2nd, rallied up the next day, gap down again, dropped down, passing the 200-day moving average. And then today, currently up 2.6%, resting right on its 200-day moving average, 142% year-over-year revenue growth in the March quarter, 221 in earnings expected in 2023. That's up 47% from a doubling expected in 2022. So for me, this is a 5G play. They make money from monetizing apps, and they have relationships with a bunch of different providers, cell phone providers, et cetera. So they help with app discovery and the monetization of apps. And recently they've been doing a bunch of purchases for app advertising. So they're in that business as well. And then the other, because we mentioned Duluth is one I bought. The other one I bought this week was DataDog, DDOG.
Another FinTwit favorite.
Yeah. This is one that I've wanted for a long time. It finally kind of meets all of the criteria that I was looking for. 51% revenue growth in the March quarter. Supposed to grow earnings in fiscal 22 by 88%. Love that. Got that nice big saucer as far as the chart formation, big saucer. So you get that peak in February around 120. You got the low in May around 70. And now you're coming up the right side of that. And you may make a handle, I don't know. Or you may just simply go straight back towards the 120. I'm not sure. But I figured, hey, okay, it's time to finally get this one into the portfolio. And, basically what they have is a platform that allows you to have greater insight into, your network. So, you get to know where your pain points are within your network and be able to react to any pain points that you see relatively quickly. So DDOG. is the one I bought there. So like you, Duluth, and then I added to my Digital Turbine apps as a symbol there, and then I also picked up DataDog.